It's crazy how fast 2.5 months in Scotland can fly by.
Back in April, we put our camper on a cargo ship in Panama and sent it on a month-long voyage across the Atlantic Ocean.
4 weeks and a few odd days later, and we picked it up in port in Southampton, England.
Now, there's a lot of England and Wales we really want to explore, but we knew that the window for good weather in Scotland is small, so we made a beeline north.
Of all the places in Europe, Scotland was the one we wanted to dive into first. We showed up with one goal: maximize our summer fun in one of Europe's last wild places.
We envisioned cycling, swimming, running, camping, hiking, and soaking in sunsets amongst the mountains and lochs of a land that hold as much mystery as one land can.
We got everything we set out for and more during our time north of the border. This is what we loved, experienced, and saw while there. Welcome to Scotland.
Oh, and thanks to Going for partnering with us on this video. We'll tell you about them here in just a minute. First up, we're starting at the border. Now, this isn't the modern day border between England and Scotland, but an ancient one that's been there for 2,000 years.
So this is Hadrian's Wall, or part of it. It used to stretch about 70 miles, and there's still miles of it left, but not like there used to be. But, I mean, considering this wall is almost 2,000 years old, that's pretty impressive. And if you're not familiar with Hadrian's Wall, Hadrian was an emperor of Rome, and the wall was commissioned in around 122 AD. So yeah, we're almost 2,000 years old, which is crazy. The wall was constructed as sort of like the northernmost border of the Roman Empire. So this is like, they used this wall for protection against like the northern tribes, also today known as the Scottish, but back then it was just the northern tribal people up there, and it was pretty, I guess they refer to them as barbarians, which I wouldn't use that term now. But back in the day, those people were, I guess, considered wild compared to what was happening down here, but it also served for custom reasons. So there were, I guess, trading of goods and going back and forth. So it had multiple purposes, but it sort of affected the Scottish and the English history. England and Scotland have very distinct identities, and it began largely with this wall, is my understanding. I'm sure it goes further back than that, but this wall definitely continued like the separation of the two places. When you cross over to Scotland, things just look different. You know, the buildings are a little bit different, the accents are a little bit different, everything is slightly different, but yet today they're more unified than they were, say, 300 years ago. So Hadrian's Wall, even though it's 2,000 years old, still affected the Scottish history, the Scottish and the English, and keeping that division separate for many, many years, even after the Roman Empire moved out. So this is it. This is the border. And this summer we're going to discover north of the border. Welcome to Scotland. Actually, this is still England. We're just a couple miles from Scotland though. It's a rough border still.
One of the trickiest parts about doing a trip like this to Scotland is not spending a fortune trying to get to Scotland. And by now you've probably heard us talk about Going. They're one of our favorite tools on how to keep things cost effective when traveling. I'm gonna go ahead and put this here at the front, but I'm gonna put it at the end too because I want you to hear this. Going is celebrating 10 years of being in business, and that means they're having a big sell. For the premium and elite plan, premium's normally $49, it's $23 right now, and the elite is normally $199 and it's $94 right now. In order to get the deal, all you have to do is scan the QR code, click the link down below, and then put in this coupon code here. It is good until August 31st, 2005. So you have a few days to get this deal and then it's gone. Going has saved us thousands of dollars on flights, and instead of checking 10 different websites to find the best deal and trying to do all this math, they do everything for you. When they find a deal, they shoot it straight to your email and say, hey, out of your home airport, you can get to Scotland for pretty cheap. You better book it now. Or if you don't like email, you can always download their app, which is super convenient. There are other tools on the market that help you find flight deals, but it requires you doing a lot of the research. That's where Going comes in. They do the research for you. They shoot you the email, they shoot you the app notification, and all you have to do is book it. And with Going, they have real human beings on the other side of that screen looking for deals just for you. So when you do sign up, all it takes is your email, no credit card required. You'll start getting domestic flights instantly. And then if you're like us and want to upgrade to the elite or premium, you can do that. We love going and we use them every time we travel, and we're trying to find the best flight deal out there. If you're looking for a specific place to go to, maybe you want to come to Scotland, all you have to do is set your home airport and then type in the destination where you want to go. Or maybe if you're a little spontaneous like us, then just let the deals start rolling in. There's no commitment for you. All you have to do, put in your email address, no credit card required. Super easy, super simple. And remember, Going is celebrating 10 years, so if you want to get the discount, put in this coupon code right here, click the link down below, scan the QR code, and grab your account. It's good until August 31st, 2005, and then the deal's gone. Guys, for real, it's a good deal. Like, it's a good deal. 23 bucks. I mean, you're gonna save that instantly. You will make your money back on the first flight, guaranteed. Scan the QR code, click the link. Going, we love you guys, and thank you for making this trip possible. Without your flight deal, it would have been a lot more expensive. All right, let's go on.
We crossed the border and made a stop at the first real mountains we came to in Scotland. Just north of Glasgow on the John Muir Way and the West Highland Way, the mountains rise a bit taller from the valley below. Just south of Loch Ness, we found a one-of-a-kind place to camp with amazing views, a warm welcome, and a bit of history too. So, fun fact about this place, I'm talking softly because it is a hotel too, there's guest rooms upstairs, but this was John Muir's childhood home. Not where he was born, but where he lived a lot of his life until he went to America. And yes, it is the same John Muir that you hear the mountains are calling in Glasgow, or as we know him in the US, father of the national parks. He grew up in Scotland. He's Scottish. In fact, there's a portrait of him over here on the wall, and they even have a signed picture of him too. So after he was in the States, he actually came back here. I don't know how often he came back and forth, but I do know he came back here for a period. And this was where he grew up. So a lot of his inspiration, a lot of his love for the mountains and the outdoors started right here, which is so cool. And also, another fun fact, a lot of people are familiar with the West Highland Way, which is a 96-mile, I believe, walking path, hiking trail that goes through the Scottish Highlands. Starts right around here where the house is, and it goes all the way up to Ben Nevis area, I believe. But there's a second trail that's far lesser known that's called the John Muir Way. So you've got the West Highland Way and the John Muir Way. Now, don't confuse that with the one in the States, which is the John Muir Trail that goes through the Sierra Nevada, which John Muir loved. This is its own thing. It's its own walking path right through Scotland. So, and I think that one's 140 miles maybe. Check me on that, but it's 100 plus miles. So it's longer than the West Highland Way, but my understanding is not quite as difficult. In fact, you could cycle it too. But if you're gonna do either of those walking trails, or if you're in the area and you wanna do just hiking for the day, this is a cool place to kind of like make a base camp. It's sort of like a glamping thing where they have like the tents. They do have a couple of hotel rooms upstairs, but the camping situation for like us in an RV, we can use the showers, the kitchen area, all that kind of thing, which is really convenient. And this is a 12-point stag, which I was reading. They have a note right here next to it. He's been here from 1900 to 1920, or it's when he lived here, I guess. So I guess somebody killed him in 1920. Is that what that means? But apparently, if you see one, it's good luck. But if you touch one, it'll bring you good health and happiness. I'm not a believer in luck, but I do kind of want to touch it just to see what it feels like. Hello. His name is Archie too, by the way. So, fun little fact. Apparently, it's very rare to see 12 points on a stag. They actually call them the royal stag. Just neat. Haven't seen one in the wild yet. So we found this place online on an app we use for finding campsites around Europe. But this one kind of stood out to us because it's a little bit different. They definitely cater to like van lifers and RVs, but its location right here near the West Highland Way and the John Muir Way is perfect. So we saw that the weather was going to be really nice for a couple days, and so we ran to, like, we were in Glasgow and we went a little bit north. We're just 20 minutes from the airport, Glasgow airport, so we're not far, but we're at the start of like the mountains. So Loch Lomond National Park is like just a couple minutes from here, and then from here you can go up through the Highlands. So kind of a cool starting point if you're going to explore this area of Scotland, which I'd highly recommend. So if you're lucky like us and you get some sunny weather in Scotland, I wouldn't bank on that. Always come prepared with a rain jacket, but it's gorgeous. It was pouring rain when we got here yesterday, and then we woke up and it was blue skies, birds chirping, sunny, and we had this gorgeous mountain right in front of our camper where we got to camp last night. Last night it was completely covered in fog. We couldn't really see how tall it was, and then this morning we woke up and it was just breathtaking. Makes you understand John Muir a little more, huh?
This hotel is actually kind of interesting because it's right on the trail, like Sarah said, and people will stop in from hiking and be like, hey, do you have a room? And they'll stay here. They also have these like glamping spots, but then they also cater to the van life community, like the whole like nomad community, and they have a lot of people. If you're full-time van lifers, you can stay here for free. It's a pretty cool like give back service that they have going on here. They're really big about community here. Beautiful land.
It was such a pretty morning that we just kind of sat next to our camper and enjoyed our coffee in the sunshine. And I regret that now because we could have come down here and had coffee. They have coffee on 24/7 in the lobby, and we could have actually talked to people now. We're early risers, but we're slow movers, if that makes sense. So we get up early, but we're slow to actually like exit our introvertedness. And I think we missed everybody. I think everybody else has already hit the trail. So let's come back and maybe meet people. There's someone. Wanna go say hi? I don't want to see you.
Please be my friend. We're starting this video off right with breakfast, and you can't start without a full Scottish breakfast.
Chris is doing the full Scottish breakfast. I'm actually doing porridge.
Please, sir, I want some more.
Traditionally, porridge in Scotland is just porridge with salt on it. So kind of savory, very plain, very economical. And if you're not familiar, porridge is actually in America known as oatmeal. Because when we make porridge, we usually just use oats. But it can actually be just about any sort of grain. It can be barley, oats, I think I saw wheat. So it can be whatever grain they have on hand. I'm not sure what kind this is since we're in Scotland. Maybe barley, since barley is grown here a lot. Maybe it's wheat or oats. I'm really not sure. Maybe somebody can tell me. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell when it's already in the boiled state. So when the porridge is boiled, it can be boiled in either water or milk. This looks pretty creamy, so I'm gonna guess it was probably milk. Now we're gonna give it a go. Oh, I've got a bee in there. He wants his honey back. Go. Shoo, 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 shoo. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Oh, he's drowning in honey. There's worse ways to go.
Oh, he flew away.
Oh, he flew away. Okay. That's such a lie. He's sitting mangled on the side of my plate. Okay. So we're gonna give this a try now. Very creamy oatmeal. Those are some very thick and creamy oats. And they're very sweet. Maybe I should have gone with just the salt. This is really sweet. My bananas are sweet enough and then put a lot of honey in it. I'm not gonna lie, it's really good. I like oatmeal back home. I usually do fruit and a little bit of honey too when I'm at home. Or sometimes almond butter or something, but this is pretty good. When we travel and we try different foods around the world, it's kind of interesting because it feels like the foods reflect the climate of where they're at, which I guess makes sense. But for Scotland, it's really rainy, it's really cold, so I would think you want something warm, you want something hearty, you want something that's going to sit with you all day through the cold weather no matter what you're doing. This would do the trick. And at night they go with the whiskey. You know, I understand Scottish food.
I got the traditional Scottish breakfast, and you can get this anywhere. Most restaurants, most hotels, they will serve something like this. On the plate we have a poached egg, we had squared sausage, we have blood pudding, we have another sausage, we have beans, we have tomato, and then we have bread. Can't go wrong with bread. And buried underneath the toast is a patty scone. It's basically like a potato scone, right? Actually pretty good.
Never had one of these. I've heard about them. Anything fried is a win.
This right here, this is blood pudding. And as Americans, you know, you hear about this, you know, they put blood within the sausage. And sometimes we can make a face about this, and that's really rude. You shouldn't do that because you're missing out. Yes, the name blood pudding doesn't sound that appetizing. It is, though. They serve this in the UK, they serve this in France and Spain. Slight variations of this. Oatmeal or barley mixed with the animal blood and sausage. It's really, really tasty. When you're coming here, get the full Scottish breakfast. You can mix and match, and yeah, there's a lot of meat, there is some egg and beans on here, but it's just a really good helping of what kind of a good breakfast looks like. Very filling. You'll be full for a good portion of the day. get this.
From the Glasgow area, we continued north, and the road's a little curvier until we reached the infamous Glencoe. We spent several days here hiking and wandering down one-lane roads, seeing what was at the end. Sometimes getting lost is half the fun, and Glencoe was no different. When we weren't outside hiking, we were inside hiding from the midges. Glencoe is beautiful, but the midges were out in full force the entire time we were there, so we don't really have a lot of footage talking to the camera there. Sorry about that, but we know you're more interested in seeing the pretty scenery anyway. After Glencoe, we made our way to the Isle of Skye. Skye.
S-K-Y-E.
Isle of Skye. Now, it's another one of those places that is just so visited. I feel like when people come to Scotland, they go to Edinburgh and then they go up to Skye via Glencoe.
Let's talk about what Skye is, because essentially it's this island that everybody flocks to because they want to feel the great outdoors.
It's a part of the Highlands, and it's an island that is a part of the Inner Hebrides. So in our next video, we're going to go to the Outer Hebrides, to Lewis and Harris. And there's a bunch of islands off the coast of Scotland, and Skye is one of them, but you can take a bridge across to it. You can take a ferry if you really want, but the bridge is the most efficient and the cheapest way to get there. Like I said, there's a lot of people on the island. There's a lot of beautiful hikes. There's a lot of beautiful coastlines. It's really dramatic, a very dramatic landscape, and I think that when people come to Scotland like ourselves, we want to see those sights. Careful. Hot. Let's go. Come on. That worked.
When we're out hiking like this, I'm always getting shots, and Sarah's getting shots too. But typically what happens is I always fall behind, and then I look up and she is forever away because she knows that she could be standing around waiting for me for a long time. So it's always fun to look up and see how far she has made it, especially here because you can see above the brush, right? You have the mountains in the background, then you have all this greenery that, you know, her blue jacket pops out in, and you're just kind of able to see where you're going. And that's something that's really special about Scotland in general, is that a lot of their hikes, you can see where you're going. You know, in the States, you'll do hikes and there's twists and turns and tons of trees, and they have that here too, but more often than not, it's hikes like this where you can see where you're going. It's pretty cool. In order to get on this trail, oh, I thought it was stuck there, but no, it's not. It's just a gate. Because I'm like, man, these people are skinny. I didn't know they were that skinny. And that's where we're going. See a beautiful waterfall with not a lot of people around. Which, if you've ever been to Scotland, especially during the peak season here, you know that there's a lot of people. So to be able to find something like this is sort of priceless.
Kramer, let's do the pause. Let me see him. Kramer, wait. Oh boy. All right, let's keep moving. This is beautiful. The least crowded place we've found in the Isle of Skye, and probably the most beautiful. I'm almost thinking maybe we shouldn't say the name of it and just say, if you're someone who wants to find a quieter place in the Isle of Skye or anywhere, especially if it involves hiking, go off the beaten path. Like, you can Google best hikes in, Skye, and I don't even think this one popped up on the list. There were several, and some people were like, this one's less crowded, this is really crowded, like Old Man of Storr,
pretty much anything that's like going to be on the top 20 list is going to be really busy. But this, it's not. And I think the views are way more incredible. So go to All Trails, go to Komoot, whatever your preference is for apps and finding great hikes, and just do a little digging, do a little research. This didn't take much to find. We just sort of stumbled on it online, and I'm so glad we did. So I'm not going to say the name because I'm always torn between like how much to share online, especially out of respect for the locals, and then how much to keep to ourselves. So I think this is one of those, I'm going to say, there's incredible hikes in Skye that are not going to be on people's top 20 lists. So just get out there and be brave to go find something like this, because there are plenty of places out there, many of which have not been found by most tourists. Some tourists, but not all tourists.
Just running through the great wide I don't know where I'm going, I'm becoming alright. We're running through the great wide open, oh, we're singing. Running through the great wide open. Running through the great wide open. Running through the great wide open.
Mountains and beautiful hikes and a lot of other campers on the road. Oh my goodness.
Caravans for days.
Oh, this is nuts.
One of my first thoughts was, these poor locals. It's just like most every other city in the world or any other place in the world that's so popular with tourists. You know that you've got to brace yourself for those few months of tourism. Like, you just do. And I feel so bad for them, though, because people like us come up in our campers. But it's even worse is the rent-a-camper people. Y'all, if you're going to go to Skye, do not stop in the road to take a picture of the Highland cow. You know, you first get to Skye and you see Eilean Donan Castle, which is iconic right there on the loch, and it's beautiful.
And I recognized this castle because it was in 007.
See, I never would have recognized it from
I'm like, hey, that's 007. Let's stop there.
First castle tour in the UK. Eilean Donan. We are in Isle of Skye. Experience today. Full Scottish experience.
Scottish breakfast.
Oh yeah.
In true Scotland fashion, the rain has let up briefly. Now the sun's out, which is beautiful. But soaking wet. This castle, I would live here. In the castle.
A little bummed because you can't actually film or take photos inside the castle. It is privately owned still by somebody from the family. So we can only show you the outside, but the outside was really beautiful. And the inside was really interesting how you could see how it used to be, but it's been renovated. So it's like all been redone, but still worth checking out. It was like £12 an adult to get in, which was worth it to me. I mean, it was an easy stop, especially if you're coming out to Skye already. Skye is beautiful. And it's sort of like right here at the beginning of like going out to Isle of Skye. But sorry, we can't show you more of it. You'll come for yourself, I guess.
I think the best part of that castle, though, is just its setting. It's, you know, it's surrounded by water, and when you drive up to it, it's just very, like, stunning.
It's there.
It's stunning.
There.
It's,
It's
like,
against
whoa.
the lake, you know, and we're like, wow. It's
I'd like to call that home.
I'd like to call that home too. It was interesting though, walking through this tour of this castle. They had some historical things, but then they had some like family photos from like the early 2000s, and it was just very jarring to see something that belonged in a castle than like a photo frame of a family.
One famous hike is Old Man of Storr. And it's not a very long hike. What is it, like a mile and a half
Yeah.
up and back?
It's a little steep, but not too bad. But the setting is right against the ocean. But then when you look up at the hike, you see these big jagged rocks that are pretty iconic.
The sun came out.
The wind here in Scotland is always something. I'm always prepared for this audio to not work out. If it does, great. Glad you're here. This is beautiful. The landscape here is just so stunning and vibrant. It rains here a lot. And I mean, you can see it's sunny right now. And then right over the mountains, there's, big heavy rain clouds. And I'm sure in the next 5 minutes, it will start pouring rain again. You just kind of layer up and you get on this hike. This hike in particular isn't terribly long, but it is pretty steep.
You don't just hike near them, you actually kind of go between them and then like against the mountainside, and then you end at this viewpoint and it's just beautiful. You've got the water down below and the jagged rocks, and it's gorgeous. It really is. I understand why that's really popular. So do know that if you're gonna go early, get a parking spot, because it does get really busy.
One thing about Skye, but Scotland in general, is the population of sheep. So many.
Many sheep. No, they make some beautiful sweaters out of the wool, and they also make some really, really good pies out of the meat. But we're going to focus on the wool side of it today, because I recently took up knitting. This is just one more hobby I decided I needed to work on. And we saw this little yarn shop on the, towards the end of the island. Actually not too far from Old Man of Storr, but this little yarn shop. And we popped in to see what it was about, because I thought, I should get some, locally sourced Scottish wool while I'm in Scotland and make something of it.
So we just got out of Shillisdare. I think it's how you say it, Shillisdare? It's a yarn shop here in Skye, on Skye, in Skye. It's an island. It's on, I guess. On Skye. And what's neat about this place is that it's all locally made, yarn from sheep and alpacas in the area, and then they naturally dye it, which is, I was actually talking to a lady at another yarn shop recently, and I was like, how practical is it to dye things naturally? And she's like, it's not. She's like, it takes a lot of work, a lot of materials to naturally dye things. So it's very small quantities when you do it. So to find something like a shop like this that's dedicated entirely to the natural process is really cool. And each of these balls of yarn was 16 pounds, and it took 4 balls to do a short sleeve sweater. That's might be my first sweater. I asked her, I was like, what's a good, easy first sweater to make? And she pointed out, gave me the pattern, and she's like, you'll need 4 balls of that. Here we go. I just started knitting a few weeks ago. We will see how this goes. But I thought this is a nice souvenir from Scotland. I will use it, hopefully, to have a sweater made in the next century. It's a beautiful yellow. Let me show you. Oh, I don't want to mess with the packaging. Even the packaging's pretty. So this is the yellow I chose, which if you've been around a while, you know I wear a lot of yellow. So that it tells you on the tag what they use to dye it. So we have to keep an eye out for that. And if I see one, I'll show you. And they ship all around the world, which is really neat. So I'll put I'll link to it on the blog, and you guys can find it if you're interested in knitting. This is all very new to me. I am going to settle into my retired days very nicely. I already knit. What else do? We already travel in an RV. I am ready for retirement.
When we were talking to Scottish locals, they kept mentioning this word associated with the Highlands called midges. And I had no idea. I'm like, what are you talking about, midges? And we quickly found out what midges were. And midges are this insect that is like a mosquito, but sort of worse, but sort of not as bad either.
They're tiny, itty bitty tiny. But I don't mind them as bad as mosquitoes, even though they swarm you in the dozens or the hundreds at times. Like, you'll be fine, and then whew, they're all over you. It's crazy. And they don't bite. They actually like slice your skin a little bit, but they're just these. I actually have a bite on my arm right now that like they go deep and they hurt and they itch like crazy.
So they slice, not puncture.
Yeah, but that's beside the point. The point of these is I don't mind them as much as I do mosquitoes because they're easy to beat. When it's breezy like it is right now, we have the window open behind us. You can see that my hair's moving. Midges cannot handle anything 5 miles per hour or stronger wind-wise. They just can't. They're so small that they just cannot manage. And then they also are so small they cannot bite through your clothes. So as long as you're covered up, they're going to be a nuisance, but they're not going to bite you.
We've seen people with like
The nets
on, and I understand it because when the swarm happens, it happens.
Yeah, talking to a couple of Scottish people, we're like, it's beautiful here, but the midges, and they said, yes, the midges. But if it weren't for the midges, everybody would move here. And so they kind of like don't mind them. It seems like, yes, they're a pain in the butt, but it also keeps people like us from staying for too long. So get in, visit, and then say bye, and then you're done with the midges.
So we were just eating breakfast at a coffee shop here in Scotland. We did something I don't think we've ever done before. It was completely accidental. But the couple next to us ordered almost the exact same thing as us. And we ate their breakfast. They'd definitely been there waiting longer than us.
It felt so good. It was very good breakfast. They had good taste.
The guy just like put it down in front of us because we thought it was ours. He thought it was ours. I didn't raise my hand. He just assumed it was ours, like slapped it down the table. Was like, here you go. I thought they just got our order slightly wrong, but it turns out the couple next to us, who also happened to be American, it was their breakfast, and they knew. They sat there and they watched us eat their breakfast.
It was such a power mover, just eating so slowly too. It was nice.
But they didn't even get up to go tell the people at the front counter until after we had finished their breakfast. It may not be that funny. It was an honest mistake. I felt bad. I would have apologized, but they had already been really rude too, so it was like accidental.
Justice served.
But accidentally, we didn't mean to.
Birch is a very popular coffee shop.
Good coffee.
Very good coffee. Get the latte. Very good latte.
We've had the Americano too, and like they're both like their beans are so good. They roast their own beans here. Highly recommend Birch.
We've been here several times, and we were going to film this morning, and like clockwork, it's so busy. So it's hard to pull out the camera. So just know the food's really good. First, we got what was a blueberry muffin?
It was blueberry bread with some sort of frosting on it. It was sweet, but not like overly sweet. The frosting was sweet, but the bread itself almost had like a banana bread texture to it. I'm not sure what it was. I hate this word, but moist. And Chris and I both got egg toast, and then we ordered it with the cheese and the tomato on it. And they came over and said 1 chorizo egg toast, 1 tomato egg toast. He handed it to us before we even said like ours.
The guy had good taste. The chorizo was on point.
We thought the cafe made a mistake on the order, and we weren't going to correct them because they were so busy. We're like, it's okay, like chorizo's fine too. Sorry.
Just know if you come here, Birch is on everybody's list. Like everybody goes to that coffee shop. It's very small, very quaint, good coffee, good food. Highly recommend, but just know that you're probably going to be stuffed in the corner just like us. And hopefully you won't take somebody else's food.
So we're in Portree, which is, I believe it's the largest town on the Isle of Skye. When I say large town, like it's not that big, but it's quaint. It's got good coffee. Actually, one of our friends said that their absolute favorite fish and chips they've ever had is here. And they would know. They've been to Scotland many a time because her mom is Scottish. Portree's really pretty. It has, like, it's sort of got the bay. You can do fishing tours out of here. This is sort of like the base where people go on their Skye adventures from here. It's pretty far up on the island, but Old Man of Storr, that's not far from here. That's like 10 or 15 minutes. So if you're on the Isle of Skye, you will probably end up in Portree, and we would highly recommend stopping at Birch Coffee and also walk around the town. There's some cute little shops. It's very pleasant. Does get busy with tourists, but not unbearable. They have plenty of parking, so. Let's go. It's getting cold and rainy again.
Welcome to one of the most popular things to do here in Skye, the ferry pools. Apologies for not talking a ton while we're on this trail. Like always, the wind kind of plays a part, and you know, we don't have good audio and you can't hear it. But beautiful, beautiful place. Very busy. Very busy. A lot of fun though. Oh.
A little windy out there. All right, so thoughts on the ferry pools. They're beautiful, but I think I give it like a 4 of 10, only because it's busy. The parking is, I think, expensive. £10 is kind of expensive for a 2.5 mile hike. And 3, like, I personally don't think it's anything too different from what you'd see on a lot of other trails throughout Scotland. Rivers and creeks running through the valleys, they're so common, especially on Skye. Now, these little pools and the little bitty waterfalls are really beautiful. But personally, I don't think it's so unique that you must make a beeline over here. I do think it's good for people who have limited mobility and you know, aren't going to go hike 5-10 miles or something. Also, kids is really like well graveled and pretty level overall. Or if you only have like one day on Skye and you want to do something outdoorsy, go see some waterfalls, go see some mountains. The mountains around it, I think, are more impressive than like the little pools of water, the ferry pools. So if you only have one day on Skye, I'd say this is probably worth it if you want to do a little bit of everything. But if you have longer on the Isle of Skye, then I'd say find some other hikes. We've already done better, I think. So, but it's pretty. You have to do it. Like, we had to do it because it's such a popular thing, and I really wanted to see, like, does it live up to the hype? So we know it's peak season here right now. It's June 4th, so there's a lot of people here. Everybody's touring. But this type of thing, especially like all of Skye, but this is like U.S. National Park level crowd almost. I mean, not quite as bad as some of the most popular like Yosemite or Glacier in the summer, but it's pretty bumping. So just go in knowing that like, I think that's kind of like tourism as a whole in Europe in the summer or anywhere in the summer. It's going to be busy, and this is no different. So it may be a rural location, but tourists like ourselves, we will find it. All right, there's a coffee shop just down the street that closes in a few minutes, and we've got to get over there because I'm freezing.
So the hike, the ferry pool hike, it's short, but the last little bit was kind of steep coming out, and so we both got warm, but also still cold, and now the sweat's dried on us too, the little bit we had. So we're freezing. We needed coffee, but the sun's already out. 5 minutes ago, it was raining pretty hard, and the sun's out now. I'm not complaining. You know what? As long as you're okay with the idea that you can never wait for Scotland's weather, you should have to go and do, it's okay. Once you figure that out, it's not so bad. It's always kind of a nice surprise. You expect rain, and then when you get sun, it's a pleasant surprise.
People come to Skye because they want to experience the outdoors. Like, that's what they want. They want to see the wild side of Scotland, and Skye gives that to you.
And it's accessible. Like, it really is. It's accessible. There's easier hikes for families, and trails are well marked, and you know, you have Portree, which has the restaurants and the grocery store to resupply, and there's plenty of amenities while allowing you to still feel like rugged and outdoorsy. And the best parts are often the parts away from the most well-worn path. So don't be afraid to get off the beaten path in Skye.
There's beauty in the lonely, grace in the grave, promise in the sadness. There's hope in the ache, hope in the ache. There's always a light if you can find it. Help me find it. Isn't everything a love song? Isn't everything a love song? Even when it's all wrong, Isn't everything a love song? Isn't everything a love song? Even when it's all wrong. Whoa. Isn't everything a love song? Isn't everything a love song? Even when it's all wrong. Whoa. Isn't everything a love song? Even when it's all wrong. Isn't everything a love song?
Our journey to the Outer Hebrides begins on a rare, clear evening here in Uig. Still skies, golden light, and just enough time to catch the last ferry of the day. Which is kind of funny considering we're sailing towards the windiest, wettest part of Scotland. This part of the country gets hit with gale force winds nearly once a week, but tonight, it's quiet. Almost too quiet. Ugh, that was lame. Anyhow, the ferry takes about an hour and 40 minutes, crossing from Skye to the Isle of Harris. Though technically, we are landing on an island that goes by two names. Harris in the south, Lewis in the north. Same landmass, no official border, just a subtle shift in landscape and weather and mood. By the time we arrived in Tarbert, the town had already gone to sleep. Shops were closed, lights were off, not a soul around. So we made the call. Instead of settling in, let's drive through the night. Because sunset doesn't happen till 10:30. Let's go north, all the way to the butt of Lewis. Because if you're going to explore one of the wildest corners of Scotland, you might as well start at the edge.
Welcome to the Outer Hebrides. Today we're starting at the northernmost point of the Hebrides, not the northernmost point of Scotland. Scotland goes even further north on other islands, but today we're at the northernmost point of the Outer Hebrides, which is the butt of Lewis. And we're starting at the lighthouse. We camped just about like a mile down the street last night. I cannot believe that it's sunny and not overly windy. It's always windy here. Today it's a beautiful day so far. We've already seen some little seals out playing. There's birds, no puffins yet. Birds over here, mostly gulls, but it's very pleasant and it's gorgeous. And these islands are some of the last, like, truly remote places in Europe. Some of the more remote places of Europe.
So here at the butt of Lewis, which I love that name, the water here is just beautiful. You're looking and all of a sudden you see this face sticking out of the waves and you're like, what is that? And you realize, oh, that's a seal.
Lucille! Watch out for Lucille!
And then a seal bites off his hand.
Gorgeous setting. So where we're at on the map, you're as north as like Iceland's out that way, Norway is across the water that way. Like you're really high on the map. And you know me, this is my first time in Scotland. It just never computed with me how north Scotland, the UK gets. It gets really far north. This is not the farthest north in the UK that you can go, but on this island, that's it. This is one of the windiest and rainiest places in the UK. Right now, we've got perfect weather. I think rain's on the forecast to come in, but right now it is beautiful. It's a cool 52 degrees. Feels perfect out here. It really does.
I just want to sit still because the weather's so nice. This is probably the nicest weather we've had in Scotland. It's beautiful. I'm not going to get used to it, but I am going to enjoy it while we have it. On to the next place. This is something we would like to do, the Hebridean Way. We're not doing it this trip, but it's one of those like, oh, we'll add that to the list to come back to, maybe do one day. But it's about 100 and, I may be wrong on this, 180-ish miles, I think. But it covers 10 different islands through the Hebrides, the Outer Hebrides. And it just looks absolutely beautiful. We've seen a lot of people cycling it, but you could also walk it. So add that to the list if you're a big distance walker, hiker.
or cyclist, check it out.
We left the Butt of Lewis behind and started making our way south, about 35 miles. But on these roads, it takes the better part of an hour. You don't pass much out here, just open moorland, the occasional passing sheep, and views that somehow feel bigger than the map says they should. We filmed this part in silence, not because we planned to, but because the wind was so strong that it would shake the truck and it swallowed everything that we would try to say. So we're telling the story now, the way it felt then, but quietly. The Callanish stones have been here for over 5,000 years. That's older than Stonehenge and built around the same time as the Great Pyramids. People stood here long before there were countries, before there were castles or cameras or ferry routes bringing travelers in. And somehow they're still standing, through storms, through time, through everything. But unlike Stonehenge, there's no barrier here. No time tickets or fences or overpriced audio tours. This is free. You can walk right in, right up to the stones, and just be there. We wandered between them for a while, took some photos. I may or may not have held up Kramer dramatically like he was part of some ancient ritual. He didn't love it. It's not flashy, there's no sign telling you how to feel, but that's a part of what makes it stick.
Something interesting about driving the UK, because there's these one-track roads, and they'll have little pull-offs. When you're passing that person who's pulled off, everybody waves. Like, everybody in the car, they're just like, it's just a thing. Like, you just wave at them as you pass by.
They say thank you, but they're just like overly thankful. I love how friendly they are, because in the States you may get like a hey, like from the driver, but here's like the driver and the passenger, they both are like, and it's not just like that, a lot of times it's like that. It's really sweet.
I saw this on Google Maps and it's just so cute, but it's called Croft 36 and it's this little shed garage thing on the side of the road, and it's like homemade baked goods, and they also have coffee and soup. I read online you've got to get here when they first open at like 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. to get the best stuff, and we're here at like 12:30. So if we missed the savory, I think they have like curry pasty. They also had a whole like cauldron of soup, which is completely gone. It was leek and potato. They still have hot coffee going, some like room temperature pastries, and then we're getting a lobster buttery. And I did not know what a buttery was until another gentleman was just in here, and he's like, do you know what a buttery is? And I was like, no, I have no idea. He said it's from the east coast of Scotland, and it's very, very similar to a croissant, but it's more of a round shape. So they have plain ones for sale over here, but then they also make them as sandwiches. And this is a lobster sandwich, and I'm really hungry, so I'm gonna probably devour this.
I cannot believe that this is Scotland. This water, this beach, look at this.
Beautiful. Some of the bluest water I've ever seen. I want to go jump in, but also I'm cold right now. So maybe we should get like really, really warm and then go run in the water and then come back and get really, really warm in the heater again. It's so beautiful though. I think Kramer would really enjoy a run on this beach.
From here we made our way to Hushinish. It's pronounced Hushinish, in case you're wondering, and I'm just going to go ahead and apologize for butchering it. It's about 13 miles from the main road, but it feels like you're heading somewhere that most people don't go. The single-track road winds through some of the most beautiful terrain we've seen on Harris. Hills that fold into each other, giant slabs of ancient rock scattered across the fields like someone dropped them there on purpose. And every now and then, a glimpse of turquoise water just beyond the bend. It's the kind of drive where the landscape keeps changing, but never really lets go of that raw, weather-carved feeling. Eventually the road ends at Hushinish, and you're greeted with a wide, quiet beach framed by cliffs and open sea. with sand so white it catches you off guard.
This is one of the most pristine beaches I've ever seen. No one's here. Obviously it's like 49 degrees right now, so it's not beach weather, but this is so pretty. The water's just so crystal blue, and this beach is just, it's just kind of incredible. It really is, like, there's no one here. No one. It looks like it's out of a stock image. It's incredible. I would never expect Scotland to have a beach like this. So the sand, like, the sand's actually pretty coarse too. It's not
good sandcastle sand.
Yeah, this is like good sandcastle sand. It's not really fine, but it feels good. It's actually great for Kramer because when we bring Kramer to the beach, he has sand everywhere.
Kramer,
Hey,
quit eating the seaweed.
it's easy sand to like wipe off.
So last night we actually camped right there. You can see it. A little pricey, but you did have a great view. We had a great view just looking out over the water. The weather in Scotland, it changes every 2 seconds. I've never been somewhere where the weather changes this quickly. People say that about everywhere they live, like anywhere in the world, like, oh, the weather changes so fast here. Not like Scotland. This area does get a lot of wind and a lot of rain. And thankfully, we have not had crazy, crazy winds. For the most part, it's been doable. We heard it gets so bad here sometimes that people aren't able to drive. Like, it'll just blow your car off the road. So, not ideal when you're driving a 10 and a half foot tall camper. This is one of those moments, like, I think Scotland has incredible beaches. But then also part of me wonders, like, are these beaches just absolutely pristine because people care for them so well? Or does it also have to do with the fact that beach weather here, like good beach weather, like a really balmy day in Scotland's like 65 degrees? I don't know. So like beach going weather, people do surf in these waters, which is kind of crazy. They're like full wetsuits. I saw somebody yesterday actually, she had the full wetsuit and the booties and the hat and like the whole garb up. But as far as like lounging on the beach in a swimsuit, I don't know that my southern self would do that just because it is chillier than I'm used to. But the water is gorgeous. I think it'd be nice, like if you went for like a long run or a hike and you wanted to like dip in and cool off if you're a little warm, it would probably feel really good, like an ice cold plunge, you know? But as far as like boogie boarding out there, I don't see myself doing that because it's chilly. But the beaches are really lovely. Like I think if this were, 85 degrees, this place would be crawling with people. There'd be hotels and high rises all over here probably. But it's lovely just to come and enjoy a beach and just enjoy the beach and the ocean for itself versus like feeling like we have to go swim and get in the sun. And I love those things. But sometimes it's nice just to take it easy and just watch and observe. Kramer's driving me crazy. He has eaten half the beach in sand already. But eating the sand doesn't do good things to you. It's not just one beach in the Outer Hebrides. So we're on the island of Lewis and Harris. That is one island that's divided by a mountain range. So we actually just crossed over into Harris, like that, the Harris side of the island. But the beaches all along this whole island are just absolutely gorgeous. And they vary a little bit. Sometimes they have like rocks jutting up out of the ocean and cliffs. Other times they're just, horseshoe-shaped coves of sand. So we're gonna stop at a couple other places today, but every beach we've seen so far has just been immaculately clean. Very few people. The few people that are there are just like a few tourists and some locals walking their dogs. Like, I love that. It's just so remote. It's refreshing.
We camped in this parking lot last night. It's 20 pounds. You can fill up on water. They have dump stations, everything like that. And they also have this like indoor section where you can eat because, it's windy, it's cold. And so you can eat on these picnic tables inside, little like soup and coffee machine. Super nice, beautiful, beautiful overlook on the beach and just gorgeous scenery. This was one of the more expensive sites that we've stayed at, 20 pounds. Normally they're running around 10 pounds on the island, depending on where you're staying. And, if you're getting electric or anything like that. This was a fun little splurge.
After a quiet night by the water, we packed up and headed inland. We set out on foot towards the North Harris Eagle Observatory, a few miles through open peatland.
Ah, the peat.
Slick rock, and the kind of terrain that feels like it hasn't changed in centuries. We were hoping to spot some golden eagles, but what we got instead was sideways rained, fogged up camera lenses, and wind that made recording audio completely pointless. It's a beautiful hike. Even in the rain, it's worth walking through. And while we didn't see any eagles, Kramer did manage to find a very questionable puddle to roll in.
Rain's coming in and we've got to make the mile trek back.
The lens is gonna be all wet from the rain. It's like misty, but the winds are getting stronger, so it's just like pelting you in the face a little bit. Hey, Kramer. Kramer's making the most of it.
There's a storm system coming in, but the winds consistently on this island have just been pretty gnarly. Here it comes.
We are in Stornoway, which is the largest city on the island of Lewis and Harris on the which are part of the Outer Hebrides. And right now we're at Lewis Castle, which is in Stornoway, and they have these beautiful grounds with lots of cycling and pedestrian trails, and it's really windy. So I don't know if you can even hear this because the wind is just crazy right now. Our ferry actually got delayed because the winds are so bad they canceled it yesterday. And we can't leave till tomorrow. So, you know what? Thankfully we're not on a tight schedule, but if you are and you want to come here, just take into consideration the weather can be unpredictable. So this man back in 1844 bought the entire island of Lewis and Harris for 190,000 pounds. That's less than we bought our house for. Still, a whole island of this size. Kind of conflicting feelings on him though, because it sounds like he made his fortune in the opium trade and even declared war on China because of trying to like grow that and conflicting issues. I'm not really, this is just based on this little bit of knowledge I'm getting, but opium money looks good.
I feel like we need to put a disclaimer. We don't condone opium money, so please don't comment. We're not going to give a PDF.
That was commonly used back in the day. Like they didn't have normal medications like we do today. Opium was. I'm not encouraging this. If there's children watching this, it's not good.
You're not going to get a PDF from us on how to build a fortune this way. But beautiful castle, gorgeous walkway. Change the subject.
There's been several things on the island that we've wanted to feature and do, and some of those things have been closed because they're like remodeling or, construction, different things like that. Specifically the Black House, which I thought was super interesting, but they're having to do construction on it. So it's not featured in this video, but this island is so very, very beautiful and rugged and just, I'm enjoying my time here. After the Outer Hebrides, we got back on the ferry and we drove back through Skye and on to Inverness, where we began our journey around the NC 500.
Welcome to Inverness. Okay, this isn't the best example of what Inverness is because it is a beautiful city, but right now we're on our way to Inverness to get some groceries to stock up because today we're beginning the NC 500. So it's a pretty remote, beautiful, incredible road trip from what we've heard. But we're gonna go ahead and get a lot of groceries now so we can just enjoy the road while we're out there. No, Kramer, we're not taking the bus.
So like Sarah said, we're doing some chores really quick. Inverness is right north or right alongside Loch Ness, which, Nessie. I'm not sure of the historical significance of the unicorn statue. So if you know, please let me know. Sarah's inside M&S right now getting groceries. We're gonna get on the road, start heading north.
We're gonna go counterclockwise around the route. So we're gonna go straight north from here and towards the most northern point on mainland Britain. Let's go.
So the NC 500 actually launched in 2015. Now this road has been here for a long time because we've met a lot of people saying, hey, I knew that road before they called it that. So it's a relatively new thing that it's called the NC 500. So the NC means North Coast and 500 is basically the mileage. It's about 516 miles long. 516 miles, Sarah and I were talking, what could it be back home? It's driving from our house in Chattanooga, Tennessee to Walt Disney World.
It is.
So we are driving the length from Tennessee to Florida, essentially 516 miles on the most northern side of Scotland. Apparently the west coast is like the most spectacular, like pretty side of this. That's not to say that this isn't pretty.
We did a similar strategy when we did the Greek Road in Iceland. We did it, that one we did clockwise. We did it clockwise there because we had read that if you do it clockwise, scenery just gets better and better and better versus starting with the best and getting progressively less exciting. So we're gonna take the same strategy here. So instead of like starting off really big with the best, we're gonna work our way into the best. Not to say that this over here on the eastern side is not worthwhile, but I mean, seeing it, it's already beautiful. There's beautiful farms, but we want to progressively see more and more epic scenery.
If you've ever done Route 66 in the States, you know it can be a little kitschy, a little touristy. I don't think that this is going to be to that effect. Yes, there are a lot of people who do this route. Yes, that it's getting more and more popular because people like us make videos on it. But it's not going to have Ferris wheels and hot dogs. This is Scotland's version of Route 66. Stopped really quick to let Kramer run, and naturally it started raining.
First time it's rained in 4 days? Naturally. This is so fun.
To give you a little perspective, today it was 80 degrees when we started. I'm wearing shorts, flip-flops. Now it's in the 60s and it's raining.
They're just part of Scotland. You just gotta get crazy together.
Kind of amazing we have the whole place to ourselves. Granted, it's 8:45 p.m. Looks like it's 4 p.m., but it's almost 9. It's beautiful. I can't believe how close to the water you can get. Like, usually when you see people talk about, like, oh, stairs down the cliff, like, you get to go, like, 1 or 2 flights, but this is, I mean, you could pretty much go all the way down. You can go all the way down to the water if you want. I'm not, because Kramer has a thing for seaweed and he'll eat it. We just don't have time for that right now. It is beautiful. I mean, these cliffs are incredible, and it smells like the ocean. It smells all salty and fishy, and love that.
Getting down here actually wasn't a problem. Yeah, it's a lot of steps down. It's gonna be getting back up that will probably hurt the knees just a tiny bit, but it is a steep climb. But beautiful setting. I mean, look at this. This is incredible. And it is fun to just kind of look up because it's not just the sky above you. It's all of these birds, all these seagulls. We were hoping to see puffins, but I'm not seeing any puffins here right now. But what a cool setting. Beautiful, beautiful setting. Great first start to the NC 500. They're waiting for me because I was down here talking, so let's get to climbing. Climbing back up, Sarah came out here and snapped some photos at the edge. She's like, you need to go out there with the camera. And there's this beautiful waterfall, just like right here at the top. This is really kind of narrow and the wind's blowing, so it's making me a little sketched out, but beautiful, beautiful setting. Oh, I'm excited. So we found a parking lot that we were able to stay the night in. We're currently just outside this lighthouse in Wick. So we will see you guys in the morning. Good morning. So we're starting today off by walking down to a castle. Honestly, when we parked here last night, I didn't read the sign, so I thought it was just a lighthouse, but there's a castle just down this path. You know, from the distance, I didn't realize how tall this castle was because, you know, the way the hills go, it looked like just a tiny little house, but then you get up closer and it is pretty tall. So you can see how it was laid out. You can see where the old chimney was. And it's just a beautiful setting. If you're watching the footage and you see a bunch of avocados roll across the dash, just know we bought avocados and we're trying to let them ripen. That's why they're in the front of the truck right now. This is definitely the busiest touristy spot that we have found so far, but all things considered, it's really not that bad. So this is the northernmost part of the United Kingdom. So when people come here, they get their photo taken with the sign, and like they should. You know, it's a feat to come up here. I don't know if you can hear them, but you're walking past, I don't want to call it a canyon, but I guess that's what you would call it. All of these seabirds are flying around and they're, you know, nesting, but you can hear them echo. And like while you're walking around, you can just hear them echoing through the rocks. And it's just really, it's a really cool sound, especially with the sheep in the background baaing too. I don't know, it adds to the scenery. We're trying to see a puffin. Sarah saw one and she was trying to find it. Now we can't find it. Found a puffin. We found one lone puffin sitting on the top of this rock.
We decided to come out here to the lighthouse and also to see the stacks, like the rocks coming up out of the water, because it just looked beautiful in pictures. But the main attraction for us was the hope of seeing puffins. And today was the day that after one trip to Scotland, one trip to Ireland, one trip to Iceland, all of which are supposed to have puffins, we finally saw a puffin in real life. Thank you, Scotland. Take two. They were adorable. And then we saw lots of sheep, and this just, I cannot believe this weather we're having. Like, it feels amazing outside. So I don't want to say this is how it always is, because it's certainly not. Like, it does rain a lot here. But today, it's a beautiful day, so we were just walking through the pastures, and there's sheep baaing all around us, and there's puffins flying, and it was just so beautiful. So we've reached the northeast corner of the peninsula of the NC 500, and now we're going to go west towards Thurso.
Thurso?
Before you light me up in the comments, I think this town is pronounced Thurso. We will ask a local, but right now we haven't had it. Hang on, one moment. All right, so I just went in and asked the barista. This is Thurso. Thurso. I'm still gonna mess it up.
Thurso.
Thurso.
Their accent, it almost made the S sound like a Z. Thurso.
Thurso.
Y'all, we are really trying, but our first video in Scotland was Edinburgh, and I'm having to be very careful how I say that because I said Edinburgh, and people got really upset. So we're trying. Please know our American accents, they don't make anything sound good, especially Scottish words. So go easy on us, but we're really trying.
Coffee shop is in Thurso. Really nice baristas, really nice coffee shop. Perfect way to start the day. Beautiful little town right on the coast. And
It's really quaint. I didn't know what to expect. It's really beautiful. You can catch the ferry here to go to the Orkneys. We're just enjoying the town. I think I'd love to see what it's like in the middle of winter, but we're here and it's 70 and sunny again. I cannot believe the Scottish weather we're having. Absolutely gorgeous, but this town is so pleasant. It's busy for being a small town. Very nice, isn't it?
we got our coffee. Let's get back on the road. Welcome to Ben Hope, which is a nice trail up there. We've been driving for a good hour, hour and a half, and we just kind of wanted to stretch our legs, see what this is about. Walking up here, it is a little bit of a rock scramble. Isn't too bad for us, but some of the rocks are a little tall for Kramer. But he's hanging with and finding all the cool water places. Go swim. This is one of the few places recently where horseflies are everywhere. And if you stop, they'll just start biting you. Normally we're worried about the midges. Today, the horseflies. Look at this. So beautiful. Oh, gotta go.
Be patient with the ones you love, 'cause we're not here for long enough. Just living is a stroke of love, and a cup of kindness can pick your spirits up.
It's only about 4.5 miles, but it's really steep, and we're like probably an hour and a half from sunset, so we're not gonna be able to finish it. But we did want to get out here and just walk for a few minutes, because one thing that's so nice about Scotland is that, one, their trails are like super well marked that we've been on so far. Like, I can't speak for all the trails, but the ones we've been on so far have been very well marked. When you see water, like these little waterfalls, they have little pools at the bottom of them, or throughout. Like, we're climbing up along this one waterfall all the way up the mountain, and all the pools of water are just crystal clear. They're so clean. There's not even any livestock around here right now, so I feel like the water's just, it was nice for swimming. And it's so warm today. If you can tell, I'm really sweaty. I should probably take my jacket off, but the horseflies are really bad right now, so I'm not going to. So I'm just gonna be hot versus being bit. All right, we've got a little bit more to do today, so let's go.
We're all lovers, we're all leavers, finders and seekers. At the wishing well, at the wishing well. We're all dancers, we're all dreamers, losers and keepers. At the wishing well, at the wishing well. the ones you love. 'Cause we're not here for long enough.
Welcome to Smoo Cave. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Welcome to Smoo Cave. Look at this cave entrance. It's massive. So you walk down all of these steps down into this sort of ravine canyon, and then you just come up to this cave entrance. This is very large.
Isn't it? So they said they've seen they said they found evidence of like Vikings, like pieces of their boats, like nails from their boats found in this cave, and then they also found some other tools and stuff from like the 12th and 13th century. It's pretty incredible. I could see this being a good hideout.
Honestly, that was a pretty cool cave. I mean, it's a short walk down to see this cave. It's honestly really impressive. It's kind of cool. They have tours that you can do and go further and explore more. But if you're just driving along, I mean, this is right off the road.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's free too. I can't get over how many of these things are free.
Apparently this bridge was made famous by an episode of Top Gear. It's fun to drive across. Beautiful setting. Cannot get over how gorgeous Scotland is. This is Ardvreck Castle, which I'm probably mispronouncing it, but when you glance at it, it kind of looks like the word aardvark. So Sarah and I we saw it on the map, and Sarah and I were saying, well, King Arthur of Aardvarks lived here, which is not true. Ardvreck Castle is right here on the side of the road, and you can see that it's just these old ruins. And apparently there is a story that this place is haunted and that there are ghosts here. That the ghost of this tall gray man will sometimes appear on the beach, but people say that he's a happy ghost. Or that's according to the signage. We've never encountered a ghost, so we can't say if all ghosts are happy or scary, but apparently this castle is known to host a happy ghost. In the States, we call like a body of water like this a lake, but here they call them lochs. So if you ever hear me say lake, it's just because I'm American and I'm saying that body of water is a lake. But here they say loch, and this loch is beautiful against the mountains.
Okay. He loves swimming. It's another beautiful 70-something degree day in Scotland, and we're about to do just a short 3-mile hike up to the Bone Cave. Oh, he can't find it. Good boy. And we stopped at Ardvreck Castle. It's not Aardvark like we thought. We kept wanting to say. It's Ardvreck Castle. Yeah, you've got too much hair on you right now. You got to get a haircut.
It's just been so cool. Go on. My baby. Caves. Pretty neat. I'm not gonna lie though. I was under the impression that there were still bones in the caves. There aren't. But they did find polar bear bones, wolf bones, the minks, a bunch of different animals' bones have been found in these caves, which is really interesting. I just thought that I was gonna see something. I guess I was thinking like the fossils in the rocks kind of thing, maybe not fossils, but bones of some sort. So I don't know. It was still a really beautiful hike, and especially since the weather is really nice, it's just so pretty out here. It's very peaceful. We only passed, like 2-3 other groups the entire time. So the last bit to get to the caves is steep and a little bit of a rock scramble. And then you get to the caves and you just have this beautiful view, and it's also really cool. So the ground inside the caves is obviously cool from the rocks, and you got this breeze blowing in, and you just get to enjoy the view. So while the caves are neat and the history here is pretty cool, the best part to me, as always, is the view. Scotland's views are just top notch.
I am hankering for some food, so onward we go.
Post-hike, lunch or dinner, not really sure. We haven't eaten all day. What is this place called? Oh, Seafood Shack. Had really good reviews. I got spicy soup, seafood soup. I can't tell exactly what seafood's in here, but it's really good. I just had one bite. Really good. I don't know why I got soup when it's the hottest day of summer, but I mean, it feels good to us. 73 degrees is pretty nice by July standards for Southerners. Chris got the breaded haddock, and it's like in a wrap with a salad. It looks really, really good. Kind of wishing I got that, but the soup is really good too.
Please don't fall.
I'm not gonna fall. The fish there was very good. And to top it off, we got some ice cream. It's been a good day. Good day of climbing, caves.
Climbing? That's a bit push. A stretch. Ice cream. We earned it.
It's been a good trip. We saw pictures of this on Instagram, and sometimes you can be let down. But this is not a letdown. This is really nice. It's a really breathtaking view of the waterfalls. The bridge is a nice aspect. People come get their photos here, but this is really pleasant.
It reminds me a lot of Multnomah Falls outside Portland, Oregon, for a couple of reasons. I think this waterfall itself is more impressive, but a similar idea where it's like the waterfall, and then there's the bridge that kind of goes across it, and you can see it from the viewpoint, and it's right next to the road, so it's very accessible. But this is really pleasant. I'd say the interstate is definitely not as obvious here as it is at Multnomah. Love Multnomah, but it's very busy, very loud. This is gorgeous though, and we're here in the evening after the gift shops closed and the cafes closed, so there's only, gosh, we crossed one couple at the very top, and I just saw another couple in the distance, but we have the whole bridge to ourselves right now. I feel like I keep saying that a lot on this route, and I know people are gonna be like, once you say it, then it's not gonna be a secret anymore. But the thing is, like, this is not a secret route anymore. the entire country of Scotland has rallied and made this a tourist destination. Like, they've invested a lot of money into marketing to make this popular, to come to places like this. Surprised that there aren't more people here, especially having gone to Skye, which is just an hour and a half from here, right? It's not far. And it was chaos of people at some of those hikes, and then this is just shockingly pleasant still.
They have this viewpoint, so you can see the bridge. So if you time it and there's nobody here, you can come out to this viewpoint, right? And you can grab a photo of you, your loved one, whoever, with the bridge.
You feel the weeds growing in the ground around your feet. Then you're standing right where you're supposed to be. But you don't need a compass or know any geography to know that where you are is right where you're supposed to be, where you're supposed to be.
Something just came off the truck. Can you grab it?
An avocado!
Thank you! So we just made it to the top of the pass. And like at the last bit of the pass, there's like these hairpin turns that are really sharp. And we had our windows down to enjoy the view, and also because there's 1,000 midges in here now, we're trying to blow them out. And I took this one corner. I was trying to like keep some speed up so I didn't stall out, because this truck, you know, is heavy and old. And there were 3 cyclists sitting there on the corner. And as I whipped this corner, we heard, hey, hey, hey! And they were stopping us. And this guy came running up. He's like, "You're avocados." And those avocados that we've had ripening in the front dash for days, 2 of them went rolling out the window. It was so funny. Maybe you shoot one of those things you have to be. Thank you.
Welcome to Scotland.
Buy a used avocado.
That was them. I'm like crying. Those 3 Scottish guys. They just biked past us. They're making good time. This will be avocado pasta us forever, probably. I'm crying. My eyes are like, oh. Scottish people are so nice sometimes. So we just got to the summit, and this view is incredible. There's a small pool off. It looks like it's holding like 6 or 7 cars right now. But this route is stunning. We've done a lot of really beautiful road trips in our days, and this is truly one of the most beautiful mountain climbs I've ever seen. Now, it is not for the faint of heart.
It is mostly single lane the whole way up. There are lots of pull-offs, so even the pull-offs are very narrow, but there's people cycling it, so you gotta watch for the cyclists, you gotta watch for the locals who are trying to get to work and wherever else they have to go. But if you have the time to go slow and enjoy it, it is 100% worth it. It is just absolutely gorgeous. When you get to the top, there's 360-degree views of just the Highlands, and it's just, oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. But the road is slow moving and it's steep, and I do want to note, if you have a large motorhome or any sort of caravan, you are not allowed up here. So if you're pulling something behind you, you cannot drive this road. And even motorhomes, ours is about the largest I would take on it. It had a weight limit of 18 tons, but that's a big RV. And these curves are so small, I don't think you could get anything up it that's bigger than 20 feet long. Yeah, like 6 meters-ish. Anything longer, don't do it.
Welcome to the Florida of Scotland. Not really, but interesting fact, this town can grow palm trees.
We took a little detour off the NC 500, the official route, to go to Plockton. It is Plockton, there is an L in it, right? Plockton. This is a little town that I read about online, and one, it's really adorable. Like I know I've said it 1,000 times about these towns. Very quiet, very quaint. It's pretty much just like one little row of houses right along the water, a couple little shops, hotels, restaurants. But there's something different about this town that I read. It has sort of a weird little microclimate compared to other places along the same latitude, meaning that it doesn't get too cold here. So its coldest month of the year, it's low temperature. The average is still above freezing, which for being in Scotland, that's pretty crazy. Now their summers are very cool, but it's just moderately temperatured pretty much all the time, especially by Scotland standards. Like, this is not Florida, this is not Hawaii by any means, but there are palms growing throughout the town, and I don't think they're native to the area. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but they do manage to live because it doesn't really get that cold that often, which I think is pretty crazy. And it's on this beautiful little bay, and it's because it's on this loch that it actually helps to moderate it, and also the Gulf Stream kind of does. So a couple different reasons why it does it, but it's really quaint. So we wanted to come down here and see what is it about. Like, obviously the temperature doesn't vary that much from where we were earlier this morning, but I guess in the winter, 5 degrees makes a big difference, maybe 10 degrees. I don't know how much it is, but pretty cool.
It's pretty normal to get fish and chips here in the UK, but Scotland, England, Wales, all of it. You can get fish and chips everywhere. And most of the time it's pretty good fish and chips. So we stopped in the local fish shack, got some fish and chips. They also gave us some, fish cakes as well. We've already gnawed off of those as well. So I got the haddock. They had all sorts of different fish in there. Super good. Like, you can put salt vinegar on there. You can add ketchup if you want. If you come to Scotland, the UK, England, wherever in this vicinity, you have to get fish and chips. Like, it is just a must. It's my favorite meal. I love this. I would eat this every day, but I shouldn't. Look at that. It's pretty thinner. The batter's really good. Yeah, it's just a good fish and chips. And chips, by the way, it's French fries. Chips.
It's a tall tale, it's a long shot. It's the only road that I've ever known. So maybe I like those odds. It's a Loch Ness, it's a pipe dream. If there's a chance, then I'll swing. Cause that's the thing about me and tall tales is I believe.
Go find Nessie.
So we're concluding our trip on the NC 500 just below Inverness at a very famous Loch Ness. We're sending Kramer in to find Nessie. So far, Kramer hasn't found Nessie, but he's finding the ball.
He lives for this.
This is by far the coldest loch we've felt so far in Scotland. Even the rivers are warmer than this, I feel like, and we've put our feet in several of them by now. This one's cold, but I did read that Loch Ness is very deep, so I'm guessing that is contributing to the temperature. Either way, it would have been really nice on a hot day. Unfortunately, the warmth in the sun disappeared about 2 hours ago. That's okay, I still might get in for a minute. I have my swimsuit on. Okay, go.
So this beach that we're at here on Loch Ness, it's not sand, it's just a bunch of pebbles, which honestly is kind of nice because sand gets everywhere. Kramer normally brings a lot of sand in, but now with the pebbles, you can just kind of sit and relax. So if you're coming here to Loch Ness, know that this loch is super long. I mean, when you're here on the map, when you're looking at it, it looks very, very skinny. You're here, it's pretty wide, but it's still just a really long piece of water.
That was invigorating. It actually felt good. It felt really good.
The water is clear, isn't it?
It is very clear. It definitely has like a brown murkiness looking to it, but like still very clear. And I can't tell if it's just because like the rocks at the bottom are really brown or if there's actually a brown color. If somebody knows, let us know. NC 500 was beautiful. I'm glad we did it. We almost didn't. I wish we had allowed a few extra days, but we are having to get out because our 90-day, it's not a visa, but our 90-day like entry into the UK is up in a couple days. So we're gonna have to go, but I really enjoyed it. And I think there's definitely parts of it that I'd love to do again, especially like the western coast. So right now, my brain's a little frozen. Kramer's hat. I know if Kramer's cold, it's cold, but it feels good. Okay, you ready to go get warm?
I'm a sucker for stories like Nessie, Bigfoot, the Yeti, the Chupacabra. Like, I love stories like that. While they may be based on a lie or, you know, some sliver of truth, it's just fun to let your imagination run wild a little bit. So I'm a sucker for things like that. And if it were up to me, I would go on that boat tour searching for Nessie, knowing that we wouldn't find her. There's got to be a point where you have to stop. You know, the Bigfoot, like searching for Bigfoot on History Channel, it's got like 12 seasons. And, you know, after 12 years, like, I just think you need to give up. Same thing for Nessie. They think Nessie was a toy. So let me ask you, do you think Nessie was real? Was it just a toy that somebody put in front of the camera to try to trick their friends? Or was it this ancient dinosaur that has been here forever, that just suddenly emerged? Either way, I believe. So if you come here to Loch Ness, you'll see Nessie stuff all over. You'll see Nessie Cafe, you'll see like a Nessie theme land. They've leaned into it. And it's kitschy, it's touristy. But I do love stories like that. And there have been stories about something in this lake long before Nessie. Like, there's documentation on this. So, the real question is, do you believe? I do. Anyway, sorry. Let's go.
It's the only road that I've ever known. So maybe I like those odds. It's a Loch Ness. It's a pipe dream. If there's a chance, then I'll swing, 'cause that
several weeks in the Scottish Highlands, it was time to head south again. Leaving was bittersweet since we fell in love with this region, but we also knew there was so much left to explore in Scotland and beyond. Before we leave Scotland for the summer, though, we made one last stop, Edinburgh.
Good morning from Edinburgh, starting the morning at the Milkman, which is a coffee shop close to Waverley, which is like the main station, train station, bus station in Edinburgh. So we're kind of like next to the castle, but also like, I'm still learning the geography of Edinburgh. But what's important is that we got our morning coffee, and then we got a strawberry Danish. Why did you pick the strawberry one? I feel like this is just a red day for me. I've got lots of red on, red shoes, red bandana, like all sorts of things, but it looks really good. Isn't that pretty?
There's this alleyway staircase right across from the Milkman because the Milkman itself is very tiny. And when you come here, you notice that a lot of the shops, a lot of the coffee shops and restaurants can be pretty tiny. And especially if you've got like a book bag like that, you're knocking everybody's coffee over. People aren't excited that you're a tourist, but it is what it is. Very, very cute cafe, very busy cafe. Obviously, people have heard about the Milkman, and this is our first go at it.
I gave it a pretty good go. This is yours now, Chris. It's good.
Edinburgh is a beautiful city. I mean, and beautiful probably doesn't even really describe it very well.
Oh, it's historic and it's just absolutely gorgeous. It's a magical feeling town.
But one thing we really wanted to convey in this video is that while there are plenty of things to do, and we'll show you some of those things, it's more of an experience just walking in the city and experiencing the city than just checking off the top 5 things to do.
You're good when you're on the wrong side of right. Guilt ain't mean nothing but a lover's fight. How fool was I now? You played me like a clown.
All right, so we're currently on Victoria Street. Now, Victoria Street is this really beautiful kind of curved street with all of these different shops. If you've read Harry Potter, which Sarah has not, but I have, apparently Diagon Alley, this is what this is based off. Diagon Alley is based off of Victoria Street. You've probably heard it in a million videos, but it is very pretty. Walking down this street, you see the inspiration behind it. So one piece of trivia is J.K. Rowling is from this area. Apparently she wrote the books in Edinburgh, some of the books anyway, and that's where the inspiration comes from. So when you are reading those books or seeing the movies, this is like where it takes place, or sort of, right? Like it's in this area. It's pretty cool.
When you look at Edinburgh on the map, or you look at how they spell it, it looks like Edinburgh.
It does to our American.
But it's not. It's Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. They say it really fast and low.
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
I think we're getting that. Go easy on us. American English and Scottish English are two very different things.
Like any city, like when you're walking around, you can stumble upon different neighborhoods. And one very famous, very
photographed, Instagram
neighborhood is Dean Village.
So this is Dean Village, and this is one of those places I really wanted to see just because it looks so picture perfect, like a lot of Edinburgh. But it's this quaint little village, and it has the river that runs through it, the Waters of Leith, and there's a pathway that goes for miles all the way along the water. But this whole area, it's like all these, some of them are stucco buildings, some of them are old stone, but they kind of work their way up the hill, and it's just these perfect cobblestone streets. It's just idyllic. So you have to come down here, walk around, but be respectful because these are people's private residences around this. So it's kind of early on a Saturday morning, so we're trying to be really quiet so we don't wake anybody up. But it is a really pretty place. It's that perfect photo op. It's kind of, I like it because it's kind of a step back in time. You can kind of see maybe what it was like before this became a big city. Like this is a smaller piece, like a smaller town feel. Almost too perfect looking though, isn't it?
We're at Cairngorm Coffee Roasters, one of the better lattes that we've had. Really busy. Obviously, it's busy for a reason. So if you're going to Dean Village, this is really close to Dean Village. So you could come in here, grab some coffee. So what we did is we walked around Dean Village, experienced that, and then we were like, you know what, coffee sounds great. And I just spilled coffee all over my pants. How's your day going?
And since we're starting out in Edinburgh, since all of our Scotland travels for the summer and this entire little mini series for the summer in Scotland is starting in Edinburgh, we thought one very important thing to do before we visit all the other areas of the country is to learn a little bit about Scotch whiskey.
One final thing, watch out for the lightning. So the first part of any good whisky experience is talking a little bit about how we actually make our whisky. And what you to be aware about is that in the case of single malt whisky in Scotland, yellower colour to your whisky, that would indicate more of a bourbon cask influence coming through. More amber the colour, more of the sherry cask influence there is in the whisky. So different flavours as a result. Step 2, please get your glass and give it a very good swirl, like I'm doing. As well as that, we'll raise a toast. In Scotland, when we drink whiskey, we tend not to say cheers though we're drinking a pint of beer. When we drink whiskey, we tend to use the Gaelic expression. And owing to the fact so much of this stuff's heritage comes from the Highlands of Scotland, such as the word whiskey itself. And here's the expression for you. Slanja va. Slanja, health. Va, good. It's that simple. Just good health, like in so many other languages. Raise your glasses after me. Slanja va. Slanja va. Take a sip to your whiskey profile as well. So hopefully you're saving the words.
It's really good. So this room, this what used to be one man's collection of whiskeys, which is crazy. He sold it off years ago for an undisclosed amount. I cannot imagine how many, probably millions of dollars this is worth. But it's incredible. So some of these, they have their two oldest bottles side by side right here. One's from 1897 and the other one's from 1904. That's an old whiskey. There's two different parts of the tasting in this tour. So the first part, we tasted, Chris tried the blended whiskey and I did one from Campbellstown. It's good. It's very smoky. It's vanilla-y, yeah. Alright, so we just wrapped up the gold tour at the Scotch Whiskey Experience here in Edinburgh, which is right next to the castle. It was a lot of fun. So if you've been around for a while, you may have remembered us back in December of 2024, so around Christmas time, we did a tour of a couple different distilleries in Kentucky. So like bourbon whiskey. Chris is actually from Kentucky. He grew up right in the heart of bourbon land and we finally went to Maker's Mark, Buffalo Trace. We learned a little bit during those tours. Like we're not huge whiskey people, but we do enjoy the taste of it every now and then. And so we did that, sort of dipped our toes in, and then today we're like, you know what? We're in Scotland. We're about to go be surrounded by all these different distilleries. We might as well learn about what we're going to be passing by. So if we want to do a distillery tour in these different regions, we sort of know what to expect and we know a little bit about it. So we did the Scotch Whiskey Experience here in Edinburgh and it was a lot of fun. It took about an hour and 15 minutes. We did a few different tastings. Each of the different whiskeys was from a different region. In Scotland, there's like the Highlands, the Lowlands, Eilean, which is an island, Speyside, and then Campbellstown. I think those are the 5. But it was really fascinating. It was really fun, even for people like us who maybe are like super novice. It was still fun to learn about it. Like I'd say it's a great entry point. Now, if you're like a pro Scotch whiskey kind of person, maybe a little bit beneath you. But for the average person like myself, it's a great experience.
We did the gold tour here, and it was very well done. I mean, the guide was speaking and then the videos were going off at the same time. Everything was timed. Like me, from the production standpoint, watching the screens and everything, I was really impressed. So if you're looking for like a really immersive, really professional tour and like history tour of this, I would recommend this. It was very interesting, very well done. Plus you get to do the whole tasting and it's an experience. I think we want to hit up some of the distilleries around Scotland, whether it's in the Highlands or in the Islands. I highly recommend this tour. It's very well done.
So Scotch whiskey. I was under the impression before that all Scotch whiskey was smoky. That was my completely uneducated understanding. that really is more from one region. And so doing a tour, we were allowed to learn about the Scotch whiskies from different regions. And so as we travel through Scotland and we pass a distillery, specifically we really like the smoky ones from Eilean, and then also we really like the ones from Speyside. That's further north. There's like apparently 30% of the distilleries in all of Scotland are in this one tiny little area for a reason. So those are the two regions that stood out the most to us, just from our tasting. But we did learn what the tastes are from each region. Now, like obviously in the Highlands, it's such a massive area. The tastes are going to vary a lot. In fact, our tour guide Connor said that some of the distilleries in the Highlands are 200 miles apart. So those tastes are going to like ebb and flow. And he's like, it's very much distillery by distillery there. So now we know sort of what we're getting into when we go up there. If we pass them, we're like, you know what? We're in the Highlands. I liked the Highland Scotch whiskey. Let's stop. Because whiskey on a cold and rainy day would probably be really nice. I feel like that would just hit the spot. Like, I'm understanding how these people survive winter here.
So we're currently at the top, at the castle. This place is a madhouse. I mean, it's fun, but I mean, there's a lot happening. So we're currently at the top, and then apparently, this is where you start, and you walk a mile that way. The more you know. It's 2 o'clock on a Friday, and I think it's just getting started. The rain does not stop anybody.
It's very windy today, so please excuse the hair and makeup. But this is the Royal Mile, so about 500 feet behind Chris is the entrance to Edinburgh Castle, which sort of sits and has this incredible view of all of the city. We're not going to do that in this video. I have done it before. Chris has not, but it's sold out while we're here. He wasn't really sure if he was going to do it or not, but it is really worth doing if you're interested in castles. You can see the crown jewels, you can see like the old prison cells. It's been years since I've done it, so I can't remember exactly, but I remember thinking it was really cool. But walking away from Edinburgh Castle, this is called the Royal Mile, and this is a high street, I believe it's High Street. It starts at Edinburgh Castle, and then at the other end is Holyrood, which is like where Mary Queen of Scots lives. Scottish people go easy on me. I've really been trying to learn my history, but the way I'm saying this makes it sound way too casual and not complicated. But the Royal Mile is really busy, and being here years and years ago in Edinburgh, my memory was that the Royal Mile is just crazy busy, and it still is. Don't necessarily love it, but I feel like you have to come here if you're in Edinburgh, and the views are incredible. It's very touristy along the mile, but you do get some of the really amazing sights and most famous places of Edinburgh on this one street. So I say start at the top and work your way down. Like a lot of cities around the world, Edinburgh is one of those cities that has a pretty well-known underground, is my understanding, and I'm pretty certain that what we're seeing on this church is like, you can see how the windows are what they look like in the middle of the street, but it's where the city's been built up over the years. So you can kind of see where like maybe the church originally was, and then where we are now, we're at least half a story up higher than where we used to be. But I'm pretty certain that a lot of this area has been built up over the years, which is, it's normal, but Edinburgh has a significant underground city.
Give me that medicine that I need. Pardon my innocence if you please. I cannot live in this if there's reason to wonder why.
Like we said, there are plenty of things to do walking around. You can go to all these different historical monuments, and then they also have some free museums.
It's a really well done museum. Totally free too, which if you have a family or training, I mean, this is the perfect place to come and learn more about Scotland and the area, different inventions. Really, really well done and beautiful, beautiful building.
Because it's getting in this weather. All right, so we just did the Writers' Museum, which is relatively small, but it's still very well done. So there's really 3 prominent writers that come from Scotland. There have been other writers, obviously, but there's really 3 that come to mind.
And that's really what the museum is representing. It's Robert Burns, Sir Walter Scott, and Robert Louis Stevenson. So it's almost like one floor is dedicated to each of the authors, but it's well done. I mean, you can kind of see a history of their lives, learn a little bit about them, see sort of where they pulled their inspiration from, and all three of them pulled a lot of inspiration from Scotland. I mean, it was their home, it's where they were born, where they were raised, and it definitely shows in their works if you've never read any of them. So things like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde or Ivanhoe, I mean, all of these are just like classic Scottish literature, Scottish books. Gosh, it sounds like I'm very well read, doesn't it? Anyway, it's a nice museum, it's free. You can be in and out of there in probably half an hour if you don't read everything, or you can spend longer if you want it. But it's pleasant. It's not our only museum of the day, but we did want to stop by and see it because we both love literature. So, on to the next thing.
I'll be honest, I stressed about this video a lot because how do you possibly pack a city like Edinburgh that's so researched and so visited and it's so beautiful and there's so many things to see? How do you squeeze that into 2 days and then try to convey it well into a video? Like, that's next to impossible, and we did the best we could.
We want you to feel instead of learn right now. Like, feel this city.
Yeah, because it is very much a feel.
For our next Scottish experience, you have hyped this up. Technically, it's not Scottish, but they're everywhere. Welcome to Greg's. I'll be honest, right off the bat, I can tell why everybody suggested going to Greg's for one sausage roll, a Scotch pie, and a medium coffee. That was £4. Incredibly inexpensive. They were actually pretty fast. All right, let's dive in.
Today is a very big day for us. It is the first time that we are trying Greg's. So, Greg's is not just Scottish. It is from the UK. It's actually from England originally, but they are all over the UK. In fact, we read that they wanted to have 3,000 locations in the UK by the end of this year, which is nuts. Like, you're never far from a Greg's. So today we are trying two different things. First up is a Scotch pie. Kramer wants it. Okay, so traditionally Scotch pie is mutton, but apparently nowadays they also make it with beef. What makes this different than a lot of pies, from what I was reading, is that the crust is what they call a hot water crust. It's not like a flaky pastry, but it's actually a crust. So that's how you get like this perfect molded round shape. And they're very portable. So like a lot of foods like pasties, they could easily be taken to work, especially with the working class. They're really popular. But I did read that when they first came about 500 years ago, the Church of Scotland actually thought they were a little bit too extravagant. So they kind of pushed back on them, but then their affordability and popularity sort of went out, and people were like, you know what, we'll keep them around. But I thought that it's funny that this onion, meat, and spices pie was too extravagant. So we're gonna give this a go. It's good. It's your basic meat pie. The crust is different. It is more like a pie crust. This is like the kind of crust I'm used to, like on the American apple pie. I actually kind of prefer this kind of crust to the flaky stuff for pastries. Personal preference, I guess that's what I grew up with. So what makes Greg's really special? Apparently, like, this is a beloved chain in the UK. Kramer, you're a little close for my taste. Kramer is all about the meat pie happening right now. Greg's is very cheap. And I don't like to use that word because I know price can be a varying thing around the world. So just to call something cheap in one country can be insulting. But Greg's is famous for its price. We got 1 Scotch pie, 1 sausage roll, and 1 coffee, and it came to £4. That is crazy. The what is the sausage roll? It's like £1.30. You can't. That's like that's like $2, $2 US. You can't get something like that very often anymore. Not in 2025. So, Greg's, you won us over with your prices. It's probably for the best. We didn't discover these cheap pastries until right before we left, right? Otherwise, we'd be here a lot. Yeah. Okay. Greg's, we get you. Britton, tell us your favorite thing to get at a Greg's. What is your go-to order? Say you go, I guess it's kind of like a Dunkin' Donuts in New England or something, where you just go, you always have like your coffee and your donut, your coffee and your bagel. I'm not a big Dunkin' fan, but I understand the concept of always having your consistent order. Oh, maybe it's probably Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons. Canadians, maybe you can tell us. All right.
Whoa. I don't want to joke Kramer, but... So if you watched our London video, you know that we ate a sausage roll that was gigantic. And one of the top comments that we got was like, just go to Greg's. It's probably better and cheaper than what you got at that market. So this is a sausage roll. They have them all over Scotland, all over the UK. It's hard to mess this up. So let's see how Greg's performs. I mean, honestly, it's pretty good.
That crust looks nice.
The crust is really flaky.
Nice glaze to it.
It's nice, fast. I mean, look at that. The meat...
It's driving him crazy, Chris.
The meat to bread, the meat to pastry ratio, because we heard you that this is pastry, not bread. The meat to pastry ratio in a Greg's sausage roll is delightful. This is what we're talking about. We don't want some huge honking thing of meat in there. We want it proportioned correctly. And this, Greg's, I think I'm a fan. This is kind of their version of Buc-ee's. This is it.
And to our new British friends or anyone else in the world who's not American and you don't know what Buc-ee's is, it is America's new favorite gas station meets store meets...
Think if Cracker Barrel and Walmart had a baby with a gas station.
That doesn't mean anything to them either because they don't have Cracker Barrel or Walmart here.
Yeah.
It's known for having really good food at a gas station. All right. Can I try that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So today we are in Glasgow and we were looking for lunch. It's actually more like 2:30 and we haven't really eaten all day, so we're very hungry. Why is that like a constant theme in our videos? We don't go do a food tour until we haven't eaten all day. I don't know why. But we're in Glasgow, and Glasgow is so underrated from what I can tell. But while we're here and we're walking about, we are stopping at Rab Haas. Is that how you say it? We'll put it on the screen. Please go easy on us on pronunciations because I know that we will say it wrong, try as we might. But we're going to do as many of the traditional Scottish foods that we have seen on multiple lists of like things you've got to try when you're in Scotland. So today we're after haggis and Cullen skink, neeps and tatties, beer, and hot toffee pudding. So to start out, we're doing beers. I got the Tennant's Lager, and then Chris got the Joller by Fine Ales. So his is an ale, mine's a lager. I haven't actually tried it yet. All right, I have a moment of confession. While I enjoy beer, I will always gravitate towards an IPA. Therefore, when it comes to other beers, I don't have as refined of a palate because I pretty much just like rank beers based on like hoppiness and fruitiness, and it's all in relation to like a good IPA. Like I love a really bright and fruity IPA. This is a nice lager though, I can tell that. It tastes very Scotland. Something else to note about beer in Scotland is Brewdog, which there's actually a location right across the street. It's from Scotland, and you've probably seen Brewdog tap rooms or in your grocery store all around the world. Their IPA, when we were doing the Pan American Highway through Central America, finding an IPA was very hard, but consistently. There was one single IPA that we could find in El Salvador, in Panama, in Mexico, wherever we were, there was always this one IPA. And it was Elvis Juice
from Brewdog. So that has become one of our favorite IPAs, and it's just across the street. We're not going to go there today just because we're already getting a beer, and it's only 2:30 in the afternoon. We're justifying this because we've already worked out for the day, and it's a surprisingly warm day here in Scotland. If you're here in Scotland, it is worth trying Brewdog if you want a great IPA. So our food came out very quickly, but I got the Cullen skink. I could eat soup all the time, which I know is kind of weird, but I really like soup. And Cullen skink is sort of like a fish chowder, but it's very traditionally Scottish. We actually had a Scottish person teach us a little bit about like the tradition of Cullen skink, and it's a very simple dish that was created out of essentially like what was available. It has a smoked haddock. Now they just use, I guess, any sort of haddock, but traditionally smoked haddock was we used, and then potatoes and onions. So it was created out of things that the Scottish people had on hand. You know, back in the day when they had famines and all sorts of things, they didn't have the same ingredients that England did. You know, the history there's a little bit tense, and they created what they had. They created this out of the ingredients that they had on hand, things that grew here. So onions, potatoes, and then obviously great fish. So that is sort of a brief history of Cullen skink according to a Scottish man that we met and decided to teach it to us. And then Chris got the haggis. And if you've never had haggis, you have to get it when you're in Scotland because it truly is delicious. I remember trying it for the first time and I kind of thought, it's like Scottish meatloaf. Scottish people, do not come at me for that, please. That was my very young self thinking, how can I equate this to something that we have in the States? And meatloaf was the first thing that came to mind. But it is delicious and it's full of flavor. A lot of tourists kind of give that like face because it doesn't sound like something that we're going to eat in the US. It is really good. Do not make that face. Enjoy it. Just go for the flavor because it is super flavorful. Haggis is a savory pudding traditionally made with sheep's heart, liver, and lungs, also known as the plug, minced and mixed with onion, oatmeal, soot, and spices. And then it's encased in the sheep's stomach and boiled. So it's sort of, again, that mentality of countries that, you know, they use what they have and you sort of use every piece of the buffalo kind of thing is how we say it in the States. But it's the same idea of like, you don't want anything to go to waste. And obviously sheep are abundant here. They are going to use every part of that sheep that they can and make a really delicious dish out of it. Thus you have haggis. With the haggis, Chris got sides of neeps and tatties, and neeps are mashed rutabaga. It looks like mashed sweet potatoes, but it's mashed rutabaga. And then tatties are mashed potatoes. And then the waitress recommended that he get it with the Westie sauce. What is Westie sauce? We need to look that up. Kind of smells like hollandaise sauce. Let's dig in. I'm hungry. It is exactly what we thought it would be. It is smoked, very smoky, fish chowder, but with that potato taste to it. So it's got that smoky flavor of the fish, the haddock, and then it's got a cream base, and it's got the nice onions that you can put some onion pieces on top of it. And then there's the texture of the potato, so it's kind of like potato soup with essence of fish, or fish soup with a little potato in it. It is really good. Like I said earlier, so many of the Scottish foods and other foods around the world, you can tell like they were made for the environment in which the people were living. So this, imagine working on a farm in the Highlands, or I guess along the coast if it's haddock, so it's probably the people who live along the coast more, but working in the cold rain all day and then coming in and having a bowl of that. Perfect.
First up, mashed potatoes.
You're seriously starting with mashed potatoes?
That was disgusting. You always have to start with mashed potatoes. Oh, interesting. So that sauce actually adds some sweet flavor to the mashed potatoes. All right, let's go to the haggis. Oh, that's good. I had to take a moment to figure out what this really tastes like, this haggis, and it's like a meaty, peppery stuffing. You know, stuffing at Thanksgiving back in the States, or what else do they call stuffing? It's like stuffing or dressing. It tastes like, it has the same texture as that. It's got a little kick, not bad. It tastes like comfort food. This entire plate tastes like Thanksgiving to me. That's what this tastes like. And if they have this every day's a good day. For real, it tastes like Thanksgiving, which is good.
Hot toffee pudding, also known as sticky toffee pudding, might just be one of the greatest inventions that's ever existed in all of history. I don't know where I was going with that, but it is truly delicious. It's a hot toffee pudding. We're putting it in this video because it is very British. There is debate about exactly where it came from, but we have seen it a lot in Scotland. We have eaten it a few times in Scotland. Every time we see it, we want to eat it, actually. So there is one hotel in Scotland around the Aberdeen area that is called the Undy Hotel, and I read that they were the ones who claimed that they first invented hot toffee pudding. I'm sure there's other places in England that want to claim that they were first, but we're gonna go with Scotland because it's another excuse. This video and filming a food tour of Scotland is the perfect chance to try more hot toffee pudding. Because we leave here in a couple of days and I wanted one more slice of it. Like, we really needed that. What it is, the cake is actually made with, it's like a sponge cake, but it's made with dates. So it has this subtle sweetness to it. And then the sauce is a toffee sauce. So you taste a lot of brown sugar and butter. And then it's usually served with a scoop of vanilla ice cream or custard. But this is vanilla ice cream, and oh my goodness, the second the ice cream starts melting in the toffee sauce, and we're just gonna go for it. It just melts in your mouth. It is such a, I know people hate this word, don't hate me for it, moist. It is a sticky cake. It is moist and sticky, and just, you put that toffee sauce on it and a little ice cream, and just it clumps together in this one perfect ball of delicious mush in your mouth. That was not appetizing sounding, was it? I promise you it's good. Just get it. Dare eat more than your half. The camera was off. I told Chris, I said, it's your turn to react to it on camera, but don't eat too much. I will fight you if you start to take more than your half of the toffee cake. Don't you cross that line. It's so good.
It has a dark flavor to it, and then the ice cream, the vanilla, actually lightens it up just a little bit. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. It just means it's good, and I understand why Sarah wants to fight me. We should probably order another one.
Kramer's nose was going crazy for the haggis earlier. You didn't share any with him, did you?
Tell the people that he just got a haircut.
He just got a haircut. He went from like squishy, puppy, cuddly Kramer, a little dirty, but cuddly Kramer, to slightly high maintenance looking Kramer. I still love him. He just looks so different. The many faces of Kramer. Scotland is so much more than a geographical location. It's a mood, a lifestyle, a culture of proud and strong people, and ultimately a place that many call home. We're thankful for our time in Scotland and for the Scottish people who were so welcoming and made us see why they love their home so much. Until next time, thanks for everything, Scotland.
For behind the scenes and extra content, you can head on over to our Patreon community. Otherwise, be sure to follow on Instagram or like and subscribe here. It really helps creators like us.